First up is a man known as the Truth. Big Fish, man down. He's the unified WBC, WBA, IBF, welterweight champion of the world. This man comes in at 28-0, 22 knockouts. That is a 78% knockout percentage. He's known as the Truth. Errol Spence Jr. Big Fish, Moby Dick, the biggest. I don't know what I should call you these days, but I'm just going to use all of them.
Hey, but they call me the Truth, but I just want to say one thing. How you got an Emmitt Smith poster and then you got a Diamond Nab jersey in your man cave, man? They don't mix.
You're right about that.
You got to pick one.
Well, he always got on me about my love for the Cowboys, so he gave me that. And so I had to take, and he was my radio partner. So that's the only reason why.
Ended up in the garage.
I love how perceptive you are. Listen, there's so many people watching this. Can you give us some insight on your training, how it's going for this fight? Listen, this is a huge fight for your legacy, for your career. Is there anything different that you're doing, let's say, for this fight that maybe you haven't done for fights of the past?
Well, I came out here to Vegas a little bit earlier, 3 weeks earlier, just to train and acclimate. So I've been training hard, 100% focused. My nutritionist came out probably a little bit earlier, helped me focus on the weight a little bit more. So, but everything's been the same, man. Been training hard, 100% focused, going over the game plan with my coach and just making sure that everything's on point and we're not leaving any stones unturned. Like you said, this is a legacy fight. This is a fight that people are gonna talk about for a long time, but most importantly, this is a fight that I think will give me and Terence Crawford, financial security for our families.
If you can talk to me big picture, I remember when we had Tank Davis and he was getting ready to fight Garcia. He said, "Listen, this is the fight where we're risking it, and I'd like to, start things off by saying, hey, look, I want to take big fights and against people who they think should be fighting one another, but I believe that the winner of this fight will be the new face of boxing. This fight is on another level." So in your opinion, what do you think this fight does for Errol Spence Jr.? What does it do for the sport of boxing?
I think it does a lot for the sport of boxing. So more people are going to be, ready to face each other. And I think this fight is just, Tank and Ryan, great fight, two great fighters, two young stars, and they got great crossover appeal. But I think this fight is just an old school fight, and two best fighters in the weight class, two best fighters in the world, fighting each other. It's rare that you get that, top 5 pound for pound guys, fighting each other who've been in the weight class and fighting each other for belts, and not just belts, all the belts. So I feel like this has a lot of history to it. First time undisputed at welterweight, and you got two old school fighters who are really gonna go in there and go give it their all.
Errol, do you like coming in, let's say, as an underdog? You look at it, this is a 50-50 fight. But if you go to Vegas, they have Bud Crawford as a slight favorite. A lot of people have Bud Crawford as number 1 pound for pound. But when I look at the resumes, it's like, wait a minute, if I'm not mistaken, Errol Spence Jr. is the unified champion. He's got 3 of the belts. He's unbeaten as well. Do you like when you come into situations like this as the underdog? And maybe it's because of everything that you've been through in your past.
Oh, nah, I don't even think about it. You guys remind me more than myself. I don't think about it at all. That's not, what I'm focused on. It really doesn't matter. It's just like when you watch even Floyd's career, every time he accomplished something, they move the goalposts. So I feel once I beat Terence Crawford, he's gonna be somebody and make some type of, they're gonna move the goalposts again and say I've been away class too long or to wait, but I might be a big welterweight, but I never missed a weight. Never missed a weigh in, never miss weight off 0.1, none of that. Always at the weight or under. So
I love it. When you look at this fight, what do you think it'll come down to? I mean, you're both highly skilled, both punchers, both will knock you out. When it comes into the ring, what do you think this fight basically is going to boil down to?
Well, I think it's going to boil down to grit, nation, focus, see who body and mind can, stand not only the most punishment, but and going through different highs and lows in the fight. Because I believe in the fight it's going to be, highs and lows, pick it up, and then I might pick it up. We both might pick it up. It's in a fight. And I feel like whoever can, adapt or whoever can impose their style on that opponent, that's who's going to win the fight.
What do you say to those who say, man, Bud Crawford's so athletic, switches, has rangy power. If he hurts you, he takes you out. I think that might be too much. Your response to that?
It's been athletic fighters way more gifted than him. They've been before in boxing. So, like I said, that doesn't matter to me at all. I done beat, gifted athletes, and I done seen gifted athletes get beat too. They can say what they. I know my capabilities. I know how I fight. I know my mindset when I go in the ring, and I feel like I can beat any fighter. It doesn't matter if they're athletic. It don't matter nothing. It don't matter about the skill set, whatever it is. I feel like I can adjust, or my style is just going to impose on them so much that it might break them.
Yeah, I remember when we were at the press conference. Terence said, "This fight is going to show that we are now in the Bud Crawford era." In your opinion, this fight is going to show what about Errol Spence Jr.?
It's going to show what I've been showing. I've been putting dudes out, touching dudes up. I don't think I got a boring style. I guess I got just a fundamentally sound style or whatever they're saying. But it's going to show that just, my mindset and, all my attributes that I have inside the ring is gonna dictate how the fight's gonna go.
How much juice, how much energy is in this fight camp that you have? Because man, you've got one of the biggest fights on this planet coming up. One of your training partners now all of a sudden has a fight with Canelo coming up. Anthony Joshua's in camp. He's now got a fight coming up. How much juice is now in this Derrick James, Errol Spence stable? And Frank Martin's got a fight coming up.
Yeah, Frank Martin fights this week. WC time. Make sure you tune in on Showtime.
I like it.
It's a lot. I mean, we all kind of push each other, even just indirectly, because we sparring and Anthony Joshua might walk in the gym, or Frank might walk in the gym, or they sparring, I might walk in the gym, and we watching each other work, and just naturally, you're gonna either try to work a little bit harder, or, you're gonna be really working because another top fighter is watching you and trying to see how you work. And you don't want to be, coined as lazy or, a guy that don't train hard. So you're gonna put the work in. So it's great just being in there with those guys. Just feeding off each other, talking to each other, and it's great. But Derrick does a great job of giving us all a time slot. So we not sometimes we do be in the gym together, but a lot of times I get my time, Anthony gets his time, Frank gets his time. It's not just bunched in. We're all just in the gym together. So he makes sure that everybody gets their time because everybody has an important fight coming up.
And my last question, it was something that kind of came up at one of the press conferences. Listen, Bud was talking about, hey, look, I've knocked everybody out that I've faced at welterweight. And I remember you interjected when he was talking, making his point. You said, listen, you haven't fought anybody. And you look at your resume, you fought a number of elite guys in their prime.
Yeah, at the top.
How much does that matter when you come into a fight such as this, when you've been through something and walked through the fire, so to speak? How much has that prepared you for something like this?
It definitely matters because you fought the guys at their top, and you fought the guys, when they had something to lose. Like Sean Porter had the WBC belt to lose. Kell Brook had the IBF belt to lose. You fought these guys when they had something to lose. So, that makes them fight a little bit harder. Like they even say that, like, people who win world titles, they get better, after they win the world title because they just get more confidence. They just train a lot harder because they now have something to lose. So I feel like I fought them, at their best. If they wasn't at their best, they probably was a top down from their best. I just feel like time is everything, and that's why I said Tyron has the best matchmakers in boxing because he fought them, when it wasn't good. Like Kell Brook, he was at 154 for like 2-3 years. Then sucked down to 147. It was already hard for him to make 147. So, it's just things like that I feel like, circumstances that helped him, beat those guys when I beat them, at their best and at their peak. But I feel like still, once we get in the ring, it's going to be all about, our abilities and what we can do and, how you can dictate the pace and how you fight and, who established what and things like that. So it's all about, focus because, this fight has a lot of abilities, great abilities. I have a lot of great abilities. And regardless who he fought or I fought, one in the ring, I feel like all that, goes out the window.
Fantastic. I know there's a rematch clause with you guys. Number of people want to know, obviously, whoever wins, I'm sure they're going to want a rematch. Do you think that the second fight will be at 147 or 154? There you go. All right. I know there are a number of people from the media who have questions for you. Let's get right to them. Andrew Roberts is with us as well from Swanson Communications. Andrew, let's let members of the media ask questions there to the unified champ, Errol Spence Jr.
Thanks very much, Brian. As a reminder to media, if you have a question, please hit the raise hand icon at the bottom of the screen. Our first question is going to come from Andrew Jones with Anscape. Andrew, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Thanks as always, other Andrew. Just real quick for Errol. Errol, what was your favorite part of the first episode of All Access that you were able to see, if you did see it? And before the Leonard Bondu fight or before any fight, when did strap season, man down strap season become the tagline that you are now known for? When did you start saying
that? My first part was when we had a little get together with my families for Father's Day, and my girls had drew me up and painted little posters saying they love me, putting my age on there, all that type of stuff. Yeah, that was my favorite part. And stress season, it was a man down. Man down came from. I was looking for something to put on my Instagram, as like the title or whatever. And I was just looking, going through the song. Then he said, shots fired, man down. And then I had to put that on there. And then I had hashtagged it. And I just kept running with man down. And strap season came along when I was trying to fight Kell Brook. And I had to fight Bundu to fight Kell Brook. And then I did this whole, after I beat Bundu, I did like that. And then I was yelling out strap season.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Errol. Thank you for those questions, Andrew. Our next questions are going to come from Manuk Akopian with the LA Times. Manuk, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Errol, you mentioned that you already moved camp to Las Vegas 3 weeks before the fight. Was the move designed to accommodate Frank Martin's fight schedule this Saturday in Vegas, or did you feel that for a fight of this magnitude, it was necessary to train away from home in order to prepare?
Yeah, basically, Frank was already, you already know he fighting this Saturday. And they was going out there, and I was like, I might as well go out there too. So, and I was like, I'm just going to stay out here instead of going out there and coming back when Frank fight and then leaving again a week later. I was like, I'm just going to stay in Vegas for the whole 3 weeks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Manuk. Our next question is going to come from Robert Littall with Black Sports Online. Robert, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Hey, Errol, nice to talk to you again. The question I had for you, you kind of actually answered it a little bit, is initially you and Derrick James were kind of just you two was kind of you against the world, and now he has like this stable of excellent fighters. How has that made you a better fighter being around those other fighters? And then the second question I have for you is, how did you know that Bud Crawford never used hot sauce?
I feel like being in camp with them, it didn't make me. Being in the gym with them, it hasn't made me a better fighter. Probably Jamel probably made me a better fighter because just all the sparring that we had, probably like 2 years ago, we sparred all the time. So if anybody made a better fighter, it was him. And I forget how I knew he ate hot sauce, but yeah, he said it, and then I just remembered that he ate hot sauce.
All right, thanks very much, Robert. Our next question is going to come from Dan Rayfield with Big Fight Weekend. Dan, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Thanks a lot. Errol, how are you today? Good to talk to you.
I'm good.
My question for you, look, a lot of people have, when they think about this matchup, they have compared it potentially to what occurred many years ago between Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns. They find that the styles maybe of you two guys mirror those guys. Obviously, you're both Black American fighters, huge fight, same weight class, unification, that sort of thing. They were for the undisputed. What is it, when you hear that, do you think that's a valid comparison? And when you hear that, this fight is being compared to those guys' legendary fight and two fights that they had, what do you think about that? How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel great. Just getting compared to those guys, the amount of talent and skill set they had. But I think, just thinking about our fight, I think I feel like how big it is. Okay, Tommy Hearns and Ray Leonard, but I feel like it was more Marvin Hagler against Ray Leonard than anything, as far as, just the style-wise and how I fought and how Ray fought that fight. Because, I don't think I fight like Ray Leonard or Tommy Hearns, but I get what you're saying, the magnitude of it. But style-wise, I would say probably Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler.
All right, just one other question for you. I know how much you wanted to make this fight, so much to the extent that you didn't take an interim fight when everything with this fight kind of fell apart at the end of last year, and he ended up taking the fight that he had against David Evanesian. And I wondered, how much did you consider also taking a fight while still trying to make this one? Or it's just a matter of, you know what, forget it. I'm going to just wait this out, let him do his fight, and we're going to get this done. Like, how did you deal with the question, should I fight or should I wait? Because now you're coming off, obviously, a much longer layoff than he is.
Yeah, I was getting that question a lot, I was getting that, question a lot. And, they wanted me to fight and, get another fight. But I didn't want to risk, anything happening or, or injury or anything like that or get cut. Anything could happen. So I decided to just sit in the house, chill, and just wait till we can get either Terence Crawford fight or it's for sure not happening, and then I'll fight. But I was willing to sacrifice a payday and another win, just waiting on Terence, because I know the magnitude of this fight. Other people know the magnitude of this fight. I know how big it is, and this is a legacy-defining fight. So I didn't want to just go off and just, he fought somebody, I won't fight somebody. And, I was just putting the ego to the side and just like, I sit around. I just wait on him.
All right, great. Thank you for that, Errol, and thank you for those questions, Dan. Our next question is going to come from Mark Lellenwalla with Front Office Sports and DAZN News. Mark, if you could please unmute yourself, you can ask your questions.
Hey, Errol. With such heavy mutual respect between you and Terence, and without any verbal slinging of the mud, just off skills alone, can this fight crack a top 5 grossing boxing fight of all time?
Definitely. If people know Terrence's mentality and know my mentality, we don't really talk to them. If somebody says something to us, then, we'll talk and we'll draw it. But other than that, we let our ability talk. You got a lot of guys who, talk a lot of crap and they get in the fight. It's either born or they're not even fighting, So if you know my style, his style, there's no, back down. If I push him, I know he's going to push harder. If he push me, I know I'm going to push harder. So I feel like me and Terence put together, it's just a recipe for a great fight. I mean, we both got old school mentalities and we both come to the ring and fight. So we got everything online, got everybody watching. We're gonna put on a great show and a great performance. It's just, the people gotta want to fight. That's the only way we're gonna get bigger fights and get other guys fighting each other and get the number 1 versus the number 2 fighting each other. If, when we fight, people come out and watch the fight, people order the fight. Because, like I say, people in the suits look at it, they're going to be like, man, like, people excited when the top guys fighting each other. People get excited, people want to watch, people want to tune in. But if people are not ordering the fight, people not coming to the fight, tuning in, then, why not fight somebody ranked in the top 10 or 15 if I'm going to get paid the same? I mean, like, you showing people when we fighting each other with a risk, it comes a huge reward.
Gotcha. One more question. Yesterday the Tyson Fury Francis Ngannou fight was announced. Does that a fight like that do more to help or hurt boxing in your opinion?
I don't know. It's an individual thing. It's definitely gonna fatten his pockets and Francis' pockets too. So I feel like that's more of a money play than anything. That's like Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. So that's more of a money play. So hey, kudos to them for getting the fight done. And I think the belts, I don't know, the belts, the people who make a lot of the rules sanction it. The WC did, so they fighting each other. So hey.
All right, great. Thanks for those questions, Mark. Our next question is going to come from Ben Baby with ESPN. Ben, please unmute yourself and you can ask your questions.
Hey, Errol, hope you're doing well. I appreciate you taking the time, and kind of it's interesting you mentioned the sanctioning bodies because I was going to ask about that. Obviously, in that presser, there was a lot of, I guess in the first one you talked about the 3% fees and all that stuff, and over the years there's been a lot of conversation about should there be one national, federally regulated sanctioning body. What would your thoughts be on that? Do you feel like there would be a lot of support is instead of having maybe 4 sanctioning bodies, having one that's federally regulated that kind of runs and oversees the sport?
I mean, I'm not worried about it being, three sanctioned bodies, 4 sanctioned bodies, but it's just a lot. Like all these junior titles, and they make the secondary builds and just make intern builds, and you just got a lot of bills and people paying fees on it too. So it's just, I feel like it's too many bills in boxing. It's basically watered it down because people win the world titles and they're not earning none of the world titles. So I feel like it's just been watering down boxing and just, just made it. I mean, if everybody can get a title, you get a title easy. You be with the right promoter and get a title, and I feel like that's not right. You got guys who really work hard and been fighting the best competition. It doesn't need to be secondary builds. You got to make these guys, fight each other, just like me and Terence doing, and the other guys too. So. I don't know. I'm not gonna really speak on the bills to after my fight. That's all I'm focused on right now. But it is a discussion that need to be talked about. I get you got retired fighters talking about it, but it's gonna be more on the fighters that active now to talk about it and to make a change, because everybody need to be held accountable, not just the boxers need to be held accountable. Promoters need to be held accountable, the managers need to be held accountable, and the sanctioning bodies need to be held accountable too.
Right. And last question for me, appreciate you saying that and sharing that. I think I've talked to you about, Terence now, it seems like for years, a lot of people have, when you were coming up, even going back to 2018, did you feel like you needed, or when you look at the scope of the legacy of your career, it wouldn't really be complete until you faced him and had a victory against him? How much has that kind of been in your mind as you've kind of moved up, conquered belts, knowing that Terence is in the division and knowing what a fight against him could mean for your legacy?
Yeah, I want to fight him because I feel like he was the guy. That's my dancing partner. He's the guy I need, and the other way around. I'm the guy that he needs, especially if we talk about legacy-wise and boxing-wise. I feel like if I didn't fight him, his name will always leave a stain on just my name, and if he didn't fight me, my name will always leave a stain on his name. Regardless if he want to say it or not. This is what it is, because wherever I go, people, always bring up, hey, when Terence Crawford gonna fight each other, and it's probably vice versa too. So, hey, we got to make it happen just for our sake, just our legacy, and for the young guys, man. Just show them a way and show them that it is dope. As long as the business right, the best fighting the best. It's dope. But, the business got to wait. And I think that's why this fight probably took a long time, because, on some parts, he didn't agree to a lot of things, and I didn't agree to a lot of things. And I think really the fight got made because we, dropped our egos and our pride and got on the phone and talked to each other, hash things out, and got the fight made.
Thank you, Errol. Thank you for those questions, Ben. Next up, Jake Donovan from Boxing Scene. Jake, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Thanks, Andrew. What's going on, Errol? I know you mentioned. Not much. I know you mentioned that you had to put your egos. You willingly put your ego aside. You made the sacrifice of staying out the ring. So we found out when the fight was made. When were you confident that this fight was going to happen, especially with everything you went through last year when you were pretty much left hanging?
basically when we got, I wouldn't say it was the last hurdle, but it was the biggest hurdle. And it was just the splits. And I basically, I told him just give it to him. So like, after I said that, that's what, got to fight. That was what got to fight, man. That was the biggest hurdle.
Got you. When Gervonta and Ryan Garcia agreed to fight, were you confident? Like once that fight happened, like did that like kind of make you more confident that it would? Because it seems like we're getting this trend of like similar fights, not as big as yours, but like these guys that are young and hungry are now fighting each other.
No, that didn't have nothing. That didn't have nothing to do with us. So okay. I feel like that they fight didn't reflect on our fight at all, or just getting the fight made.
Got you. And then finally, I know you would like it another way, but like obviously you're not getting the activity that maybe you once had. But is there anything advantageous to like taking these breaks between these fights? Like how are you able to implement that into your training camp?
Yeah. I feel like spending time with my kids. I've been out for a year, being with my kids, hanging with my kids, seeing my kids every day, not, training and just stressing and, taking care of my body and just doing the right stuff to where when I come back, I'll be right and I'll be ready. And I just, abusing my body and, going out, hanging out. I was basically at the crib with my family and chilling with my family and just doing fun activities with them.
All right. Thank you for those questions, Jake. Next up, Aaron Tolentino for KRON4 TV Bay Area News. Aaron, if you could please unmute yourself, you can ask your question.
Hi there. Hi, Errol. Aaron Tolentino, KRON4 TV in San Francisco. I wanted to ask, get your comments on this. Terence on Sean Porter's podcast said the reason the promotion didn't feel as big to him as the fight, as it should be, just given the magnitude of the fight. The reason why he didn't feel as the promotion was big as it should be is he was saying that people see two black men. You guys aren't talking trash. You guys aren't hugely brash. You're not this or that. I just wanted to get your thoughts on if you agree with him. What are your thoughts on the overall promotion of this fight, given the magnitude and the historical significance of it?
I mean, he could be probably right. Just because, yeah, he could be right. Just because it probably will be big. We was talking trash, cursing each other out, talking about each other's mothers and fathers and, saying crazy stuff to each other. It will be a lot bigger. Like, I mean, that's what sells, especially in this time. That's what sells. People love to see controversy, love to see you acting ass and acting crazy. But since they're not getting there, it's probably not that big. More people draw to it if I get on stage and throw a punch at them or try to slap them with something crazy. That could be all over social media and and cause a frenzy. So you're right about that part.
Thanks, Errol.
Today's reality.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Errol. Thank you for that. Thank you for the question there. Our next question is going to come from Hans Semisode with FightHype. Hans, please unmute yourself. You can ask your question.
Errol, what's going on, baby?
Not much, cooler.
All right. First one, two questions for you, man. Just wanted to know, in your opinion, a win over Terence, does that make Errol Spence a no doubt Hall of Famer, man?
I don't know. I mean, Hall of Fame is what it is. I really don't too much care about the Hall of Fame.
Got it. Fair enough. Second question is a two-parter. You're growing your hair out, so we probably won't see the shag, but hopefully we will see it. So I, wanted to know, are we going to see a black Uptowns at the weigh-in? If not, people are going to be worried. And second part of my question is, obviously you're a guy that always wanted to fight the best people out there. Even if you're on a layoff, always want to fight the best guys. We got a guy in Jaron Ennis right now who's killing everybody. Floyd is praising him, Roy Jones, everybody really. Like, would a part of you, and not looking past Terence, but would a part of you be like, yo, this kid is good. I gotta fight this kid.
Yeah, nah, he's nice as hell, but you know, I'm at the point in my career, the money right, I'll fight anybody, so I ain't tripping.
All right, appreciate you.
All right, thank you, Hans. Our next question is going to come from Abraham Gonzalez. Abraham, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Hey, Errol, how's it going?
Good.
So my first question is, have we fixed the mouthpiece situation? Because I know that's been an issue the last two fights. Is the mouthpiece good for this fight?
Yeah, the mouthpiece is good. I got a new mouthpiece right now, so I got a couple new mouthpieces. So yeah, it's good.
Okay. And then the second question is, you have some young guns like it looks like from the photo, Brian Ceballos, Quentin Randall. Does it ever feel like at this point in your career, like you're the old head in the gym with all these young guys like Frank Martin and all them around and trying to impress you and stuff, and you know you're the salty champion? Does it feel like a little bit like you're the old head in the gym when you're around all those young guys?
Nah, I ain't no salty champion, but nah, it don't. I mean, I got more than all them, but nah, it's not. You know, it's great. I feel like it's better working with young guys because you know they push you a lot harder than you working with somebody older. So I feel like it's a lot better working with the young guys, and they just push me. And I feel great just still being at the top, 33 years old, and still at the top, and at the sport, and they're trying to get to where I'm at right now. So that's a great feeling. If I was 33 and I was, trying to get a title and things like that, and trying to get notoriety, then I'd be a size older guy. But being at the top now, I'm not a size head out, and I just use them in motivation and just try to tell them different things, and just make sure I tell them just to stay focused.
All right, thank you, Errol. Thank you for those questions, Abraham. Our last media questions for Errol are going to come from Cynthia Conti with Best Women's Boxing Period and RingTV.com. Cynthia, please unmute yourself and you can ask your questions.
Hi, Errol. It's Cynthia. I hope you are well. We know that you have moved to your farm, and I see you and your kids are literally in there working, picking up poop, just being a farmer. How has that move in your life and your shift for your family changed for you, for your mind, body, and soul, and also as a fighter?
I feel like it makes my kids more active. It makes me more active, and just being outside had different things, because before that I was staying in a high rise, so you gotta go down 24 steps to go outside. So I wasn't going outside unless I needed to. So living on a ranch, I go outside and we play with the dogs, the horses, play in the pool, go to the pond, walk around, ride the ATVs, see the horses, feed the horses, play with the dogs. So it's just a lot of different activities, and just showing them something different than just being downtown and hanging downtown and just doing stuff. Eventually I want to get my kids into horse riding lessons. Somebody see them out ride horses, and build a paintball course out there, and just get them a safe haven on their ranch instead of them getting bored and having to go out to the city or want to go out and hang with friends, and when they have everything at the house for them.
And then also, I know that your daughters have always been in the gym with you from day one. Do they know the importance of how big this fight is to their daddy, since now that you're in a different city once again? Do they know this is for all the belts, or they just think, oh, daddy's just going to work once again?
No, they don't know. They just think I'm a boxer. they ask like somebody wanted to take a picture with me. My youngest asked why is he taking pictures with you? And I mean, it ain't really, because they've been in the gym so long. Like, I go spar and I get hit. You know, I hit somebody or somebody might be getting beat up in the gym. And they just acting like it's normal, like somebody eating a sandwich because they've been in the gym so long. Like, you got other people, you know, their kids be crying and stuff. With them, it's like they don't even blink an eye because they've been in there their whole life. This is what they've seen throughout the day. I've been having them in the gym since they was in the car seat. I just bring the car seat in and just sit them up by the ring, and they just watch me train and work out. So they've been in the gym their whole life. So it's just normal to them. They just think I box for a living. But they hate training camps anyway because they don't like to see me. Usually I get Airbnb in Dallas, and they hate coming to the Airbnb. They want me to come home.
All right. Thank you, Errol. Thank you for those questions, Cynthia. That's a wrap for the media portion of the call with Errol. Media, please stick around. We'll have Terence here momentarily. With that, I'll turn it back over to Errol, or to Brian rather, to get closing comments from Errol.
That's right. All right. Thank you, Andrew. So, Champ, appreciate it. Listen, give these guys a final word here. Everybody, all these members of the media who are going to be writing about this fight and talking about it, let them know what's at stake July 29th, and then your feelings, your final comments here, AKA the biggest, AKA put them in the dirt. I think I've gotten all the names out for you. Let these people know about July 29th.
Free Smoke Jr.
Free Smoke Jr.
Hey, I want to make sure everybody tune in. This is an important fight for my legacy. I'm going to put on a great show, a great performance. It doesn't matter if it's one side; it's going to be a great performance because y'all know I beat ass. So I want everybody to make sure they tune into this fight. This is an amazing fight. It's an old school fight. This, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray. This is Trinidad Vargas. These are all these great fights. packed in all of one. My mentality is to fight, is to win, is to kill. That's his mentality: to fight, to win, to kill. So this is gonna be a legendary fight. We don't have to, talk crazy and do all the, crazy antics and, push each other and slap shit on each other's face and all that type of things. At the end of the day, I'm a man. My kids watch me. He's a man. His kids watching him. So, it's just mutual respect there. But I guarantee you, once you get in the ring, the mutual respect going out the door, and I'm going for the kill. I know he's gonna try to kill, and I'm going for the kill too. It's man down, strap season, big fish, the truth, Free Smoke Jr. You already know. Make sure everybody tune in. July 29th on Showtime pay-per-view.
I love it. EJ, certainly appreciate it, champ. We'll get back to training. Look forward to seeing you this weekend in Las Vegas. Good luck to you, obviously, your fighter, Frank Martin. And we'll talk about it again this coming Saturday during the Frank Martin fight on Showtime Championship Boxing.
Hey, for sure. Make sure everybody watch Frank Martin fight. It's a WC title eliminator. You're going to put on a great show and another great performance like you've been doing. And hopefully after this fight, he can fight for a title or the number 1 versus number 2 fight each other. And I know who that is. Who's the number 1 guy?
Listen, the tip top, obviously, the tip top is Devin Haney. Whether or not he vacant, but right there with him is Gervonta Tank Davis. So,
okay, and who's under him?
Under Gervonta Tank Davis?
For the WBC, who's under Devin for WBC?
Well, you have the ghost right there as well. The ghost is there.
But who's under Devin for WBC? WBC.
Who's the guy you're thinking about?
Huh?
Who?
Shakur. God damn it.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
I love it.
That's what it
Act
is.
like you didn't know.
You know. I get it. You ain't want to get nobody no shout out on the other side.
So yeah, you got Shakur there as well, because Shakur is Lord have mercy, that's something. EJ, thank you. Appreciate your time, my guy. Appreciate it.